Here at the Munich Security Conference, the focus is on Ukraine and regional security. But Africa's security concerns, particularly when it comes to the Horn of Africa, remain incredibly important. I sat down with Somalia's Deputy Prime Minister to discuss security issues there, and also the fact that this is a nation that now holds a seat at the UN Security Council, bringing a new voice and perspective to Africa's security matters to the international stage. Your Excellency, Salah Jamac, Deputy Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Somalia, welcome to TRT World. Great to have you with us here. Now, Your Excellency, you have an incredible position right now. Somalia has a seat, non-permanent seat, at the UN Security Council, and we're here, of course, at the Munich Security Council discussing security. How is Somalia using that global platform at the UN to address security issues in the Horn of Africa, Somalia, and also being a voice for Africa right now?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. It's glad to be here at the Munich Security Conference to represent my country, Somalia. And as you mentioned, we have a very great opportunity to be part of the Security Council, a very important body in the global security architecture. And Somalia looks forward to play a very progressive role in articulating the different perspectives on global security, regional security, and overall human security per se. We surely do intend to bring the voices from the global south, and particularly the African continent. As you know, Africa is highly underrepresented in the global institutions, so Somalia looks forward to, along with our other two African representatives, members, to bring about the views and the solutions that we hope would be viable for a global security to the table. So we look forward to playing a very progressive and useful role, focusing on particular areas. And mind you, the last time we were part of this body was in the early 1970s.
So over 50 years. That's
yes.
An incredible time now to be back there at the helm of the UN. Your Excellency, let's just drill down a bit more on the security situation in your country, in the Horn of Africa, with Al-Shabaab and also Daesh. How would you describe it right now?
Well, I think Somalia and the federal member states are aggressively fighting off Al-Shabaab and Daesh as well in the eastern regions. And also the Somali communities. So for the first time we're having a very concerted effort against the terrorist groups. And in the last almost 2.5 years, we really have waged a very successful and strategic war against Al-Shabaab, where we have been able to not only diminish their capabilities, but also take over a lot of areas that they controlled and make sure that hundreds of thousands of Somalis are now freed from the shackles of this very draconian entity, and people are enjoying stability and access to social services. But the fight still goes on. We still have a lot of area to recover from Al-Shabaab. But I think as a government and as a society, this time we're being very strategic, objective, and determined about fighting off Al-Shabaab under the leadership of our president. That strategy has been working very well. To focus on limiting their capability to generate finances, to get the ulama or the Islamic scholars and the larger community to question the ideological basis of Al-Shabaab and ISIS's argument and challenge them, and also the mechanical military engagement. On all these three fronts, three-pronged approach strategy, it has been working very successfully, where we have limited their capacity to scavenge resources, operate freely, and also influence people.
It's good to
hear. It's a very complex undertaking, and we have been successful so far, despite the challenges and at times the gaps that may arise.
Your Excellency, I want to speak about the ties between Turkey and Somalia. We know they're very close, we've seen it, and recently the President of Turkey brokered a historic deal, that's how he described it, between Ethiopia and Somalia. How is that holding up right now?
Well, I think the relationship between Turkey and Somalia has certainly evolved over the years from merely a humanitarian intervention in 2011 when President Erdogan came to Somalia at a time of a famine, to now a very strategic relationship whereby we have cooperation on the security front, economic front, and as you mentioned, there is even going to be aerospace satellite launch from Somalia sometime soon.
I want to come to that because there are media reports about that Turkey building a spaceport there in Somalia. How do you envisage that benefiting Somalia?
Well, I think it's a total package where we are trying to advance our partnership in different areas, from security to economic and technological arena also. So I think the relationship with Turkey has been very productive and a useful one over the years.
Now, the climate is really impacting Somalia, and you go through really a relentless cycle of droughts and also floods, floods. How are you tackling this? And of course, it's causing so much displacement.
You know, under this forum, the Munich Security Forum, that traditionally used to be a transatlantic platform. Increasingly, different members from around the world are participating in here. And it has become truly a global forum where security in its multidimensionality is being addressed. So while, you know, many different countries are talking about the threat of nuclear warfare, some are talking about bipolarity and multipolarity in the global order. For the global south, and particularly some of these African countries that are grappling with fragility and other vulnerabilities in the society, for us the dimension of human security, particularly climate security, is of tremendous importance. And we bring that voice to this platform, that the underlying causes of migration, displacement, and some at times even...
Do you feel that's overlooked, Your Excellency, sometimes, that this human security, as you're saying?
I think human security needs to enjoy more time and space in the global forums than it does now. Of course, there is the COP mechanisms and others. There was an African climate summit in which African countries tried to coalesce and join their views so that we can take it to the global platforms. But I think there is a need to understand the urgency and the severity of climate change-induced insecurities in places like Somalia, or even the small island countries across, you know, the world, and many other Eastern and Western African countries.
And to that point you made, the voice you have now, that platform at the UN Security Council, and you're here at the Munich Security Council. What is your main message as a voice for the Global South and the Horn of Africa?
Some of the debates that we were having here today was whether we should bring the issue of climate change and coping with climate change, adapting to it and mitigation to the Security Council, or is it a better fit for the more inclusive body, the larger assembly of the UN institutions. And I think different perspectives are being entertained. But most importantly, it is a matter of nobody is questioning the science for now as far as global warming is concerned, and the impact that it's having. From Africa to Europe to the Americas, we can see the consequences in the form of floods, in the form of droughts, in the form of forest fires. And
President Trump pulling out of the Paris Accord, does that impact you?
Well, I mean, that would be too early to translate their decisions into policy implications, but we did have the Vice President here who presented the view of the new American government. But we believe that climate change certainly requires a collective effort and a collective responsibility, particularly among the industrious countries that have been the main contributors to climate change over the years, the impact greenhouse gas emissions.
Absolutely. I want to bring you back to Turkey-Somalia ties. We mentioned, of course, the spaceport that's going to be built. But what other projects do you have together, and how do you see the future of relations?
Well, we have multiple projects. We have arrangements in the security front. We have economic ties, exploration of oil, as you know. A lot of good and positive aspects of our relationship are coming to the light every day that we continue. And I think the relationship has a great room for improvement. And we are very thankful for the Turkish government for the constant support that they give us, as do many other partners that support us, like the United States and others who are all, and the European Union, who support the Somali government in different areas.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for your time here on TRT World today, and we wish you a lot of luck with all the challenges you're facing there with security and that voice and that platform that you have at the UN Security Council. Good luck with everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.